Parliament Funkadelic or Funkadelic music had a heavy influence on my funk playing. I think that's actually when I learned how to play with a rhythm section. You know, I mean, because up until that time, you know, like with the fusion music, you know, I mean, it's about playing with each other there, but you know, you really, I mean, you know, you're playing a lot and you're not really listening. I mean, you're listening, but you're really not listening to what's going on around you.
Right.
At least when, you know, some of the musicians I grew up playing with, playing fusion music at that time, that's what that was about. But when I joined P-Funk, or Parliament Funkadelic, you know, it was 20 guys, and it had to sound like 20 people on the bandstand.
So how old were you when you joined the band? 18
or 19 years old. I think it was like 18 years old.
And that was your first major touring act?
Yeah, it's funny. You know, here I am in, you know, just out of high school, playing in jazz clubs, you know, playing a lot of jazz music and a lot of fusion music. Next thing I know, I get a call or I get a plane ticket to come down to Atlanta, Georgia, you know, to start rehearsing with the band. So, and you know, the next night after that, I'm at Madison Square Gardens. You know, it was pretty wild. I remember, like, you know, the lights would go up, and I look out and there are all these people. I've never seen that many people in my life, you know. And I look down, I have like all these goosebumps, and you couldn't hear, you know, because the people were like cheering, you couldn't hear when you count off. So I would count off, and everybody, the band is like, what? You know, what's going on? You know? So I had to like yell, you know, like real loud to count off the tunes. You know, playing with P-Funk was a great experience for me.
How long did it take before you really felt comfortable in that band?
2 months. I felt comfortable in, you know, like being with the band, but I never felt comfortable playing the music until like actually like 3 years. About 3 years after I joined the band. You know, all of it until that time. I mean, I'd spent a long time playing a lot of jazz fusion music, you know, and I mean, you know, like funk, so to speak, but, you know, P-Funk or Parliament Funkadelic is a whole different type of funk thing. You know, all your life you know, you listen to a band that you know, you really idolize for, you know, like in your earlier years, and all of a sudden here you are playing with them. I never dreamed that I would be playing with those guys.
So this period of 9 years had a heavy influence on what you've done since then, in terms of the groove and the foundation and the pocket. Can you talk a little bit about how that developed and some of the George Clinton ideas?
Yeah, well, one thing I had to learn was like how to play in the pocket, and I didn't know what that meant because no one explained that to me, especially in that organization, until later. You know, I finally broke down and was like, man, what are you guys talking about? You know, like, what is pocket? You know, and what it meant was, okay, well, the time is here, 1, 2, 3, 4. You can either play right on those beats, which George didn't want. He wanted to lay back a little bit, you know, like behind it a little bit, and that's what he meant, you know, with, you know, putting it in the pocket. But you could still feel the time being where it is. It was just, you know, you still had this heavy or this little sluggish feeling, type of thing.
But was the hi-hat?
The hi-hat stayed on, you know,
on.
the time.
Snare drum?
Yeah, I mean, sort of like what Gad does with his left hand. You know, when he plays snare drums, it's like some of the stuff he did with Steely Dan. You know, some of those examples were like this. You know, snare drum was like behind the beat, so to speak. You know, just, yeah, a little bit laid back, and that's pocket playing. That's what George called pocket playing.
So that would carry on into the record dates you're doing today, whether it's sequence music or not. It all still applies.
It still applies, but I don't get a chance to do those type of things anymore because, you know, usually, you know, guys want you to, you know, I work with a lot of guys who work with these sequences and they want it to be exactly right on the beat, you know, and, you know, as soon as you try to lay it back a little bit, you know, they think, you know, like the time is like a little weird.
Right.
And all you're trying to do is just, you know, like trying to create a comfortable vibe on the track, you know.
Human feeling.
Yeah, but the only time I really get a chance to exercise those type of things is like when I'm playing live with the rhythm section.